Fragments of Silicon, another week, another show.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me as always, our Galax and Petty fan. Let's get to the news, as always. Galax, why don't you start us off this week?
I'll have to get up early tomorrow for a dentist appointment, so hopefully that'll be not too severe. It's just some cavities, but who knows how long it takes, you know?
Like,
Sometimes the whatchamacallem thing what makes it not hurt so much.
Novocaine?
Novocaine or the other one. I think they're going to use the not blood pressure sensitive one.
The nitrous oxide?
No, I think it's still an injection. Anyway, sometimes the thing that makes it not hurt so much takes a while to kick in.
We'll take your word on that.
So hopefully I won't be late for work, but that's the main thing. Otherwise, it's been pretty low-key, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Excuse me. And nothing particularly good and particularly interesting in video game news either, aside from the fact that I've still barely had a time to look at Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and I'm starting to get sad.
That's a way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen other people play it, and it looks very fun. Also, the music is really good.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's about all I got.
Okay. Well, Petty, it's your go.
Overall, it's been a quiet week, thankfully. It's starting to get warm, which sucks. Mostly because need to find somebody to deal with the lawn this year. And, yeah, just been kind of living life. I gotta hope more Beyblades, which I guess is kind of cool. And
what's your time record?
I haven't timed it, homie.
Have you learned the secret technique to make it like climb up a staircase, then turn around and then jump on its enemy yet?
Not yet. Although I am working on parting the Red Sea, but that might take a little while longer.
I did notice that I had some friends who showed like the whole Beyblade, and some of the later seasons are much less egregious in terms of actual behavior of the toy tops. But the first season was very fun.
First season, the kids were basically fucking telepathic or whatever.
Then again, the first season had the excuse of the toy tops are possessed by the hologram monsters.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And yeah, I still need to find a chance to get to playing the Final Fantasy Origins, I think like Strangers of Paradise or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Jack and Chaos's very no good, very horrible, terrible, bad day.
Basically.
Terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. Yes.
Yes, clearly. And yeah, not a whole lot else. So I guess next victim.
Well, it would fall to me then. Let's see. I mean, it's already gotten warm here, so it's more.
I live in Florida. It never stopped being warm.
I'm in the temperate part, so that's all relative. Like,
it started getting hot.
Let me finish. No, it started to get rainy. That's the difference. because that's when the humidity kicks in. Like that's when
the humidity.
I mean, you joke, but
No, I know I'm. That is honest. I was perhaps exaggerating the tone, but I understand it sucks to be that moist.
yeah, yes, it does. Like, let's see, Mother's birthday celebration is this weekend. Um, Technically speaking, a 2-day affair, mainly because my younger brother and his clan are going to be busy on her actual birthday, so we got to go down to their place on the following day. Like Sunday, Saturday, I'm taking her out. Sunday, my brother's taking her out, basically. So, nothing too extravagant because it's her like 71st birthday. Yeah, it's one of those it exists birthdays. So, still, just got her birthday card today. Don't remember if she wanted flowers. She really wanted it. She'll mention it. Anyway, in gaming news, let's see. I've been playing through Axiom Verge. Just one of those games that ended up on my backlog and just randomly got to. Yeah, it is as good as people say it is.
I've heard that the weirdest thing about it is that some of the controls require excessive amounts of shoulder buttons.
Yeah, I could definitely. I'm like, my biggest problem is it's got one of the worst grapple hooks I've ever used. Like,
Fair.
mainly because when you like push in a direction, it automatically throws you that way instead of like releasing the button.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because I played too much Bionic Commando, but it's like I just never can get you. Thankfully, I'm to the point where the grappling hook is very marginally used. Once you get the drone teleport, really makes that thing redundant. For the most part.
Little bit. Although I think there's at least one instance that can turn up where you have to like grappling hook to get the altitude to throw the pod teleport from.
Yeah, I might have hit that point. I might not. I'm doing cleanup right now, like before I get to the end game.
Did you get a seed that let you get any of the secret weapons?
I've gotten plenty of them. I haven't gotten all of them yet. There's a lot of weapons in this game.
Yeah, but there are like 3 that only have a chance to show up because they only show up in the like extra off-map glitch zones.
Like, I'm not sure if I have gotten those yet, though I did get the super secret help mode by a complete accident. Like, that's the one where you have to bug out a random enemy. Just did that, and I'm like, anyway. And yeah, I think that's all my news for this week. So merrily we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week is Matthew Carlin of Alpha Zoo LLC.
Hi, guys.
Hello. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I have spent the day building Lego cities. It's a good day.
Not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So how we like to get started is we like to get to know the people, persons behind the game, the studio, and all that jazz. And we do this by asking this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
My goodness. I'm probably quite a bit older than you guys and your audience. But like a lot of people who end up making games, I've been making them since before I could make them. I can remember being 6 years old. I'm sort of like end of the Nintendo, beginning of the Super Nintendo era, and drawing these.
That's
just
how old
like
I am, and I think Adam's older, so.
Oh, excellent. All right. I don't know if you guys did this, but I was basically drawing maps for those games when I was a little kid all the time. I had like a fairly large book full of my own Secret of Mana maps, just not good sketches, but just map, or for my own like imagined RPGs.
I got the book for that. That game had hella maps.
Oh God, yeah. That was a good time for strategy guides too. Like those were some beautiful things. Yeah, but so I've basically just been amateur doing this my entire life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a more common refrain on this program than you might think. Like,
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Especially going back to not even in like the Super NES era, like even like the PlayStation 2 era,
Oh yeah.
you're not really getting the mini maps and stuff like you do today. I mean, maybe not as sketched out as, say, the 80s, but it was still there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, I've actually been amateur game programming on and off for honest to goodness almost 30 years.
Mhm.
It's just something I do in my spare time for fun. Every once in a while, I finish one and put it online, or like play it with my friends for a month and have a great time. This was not at all my professional thing until much more recently when I decided, I love it a little too much to not at least give it a shot.
Okay. And, well, okay, so going into Alpha Zoo specifically, your company here has a specific bent that we don't see too often on this program. It's
Oh, yeah.
not, it's not unprecedented or anything, but we don't get a lot of developers who are aiming towards the educational sector. Like,
It's a bit of a lost culture. There was a time when if you had computer at home, half the games you might go look at buying were, the same games that you played in school, and like everybody grew up on the same educational games.
mm-hmm.
There are great educational games now, but I think that having it be a big part of gaming culture has really fallen off.
I'm like, I really can't speak to that particular segment because, I haven't engaged in that since the 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
But, there is maybe a grain of truth to it. But I mean, certainly, like, you can't really say like any of the old edutainment titans are really going on right now. Stuff like the Oregon Trail or
Yep.
Carmen San Diego. I mean, number crunchers or number munchers, and so on and so forth. Now,
I know you guys have seen those ridiculous mobile ads for Oregon Trail, as I think it's like as part of Apple Arcade or something. Like, it's sad that a rehash of the best stuff is about the only thing that you see thrown around online.
yeah.
So yeah,
that is distressing. I mean, the kids of today will not understand the joys of Odell Lake. But
that's a throwback.
But what we got here in terms of Alpha Zoo, the game, is a specific part of that edutainment gestalt, or I'm not exactly sure what the word here, subgenre. That's the typing tutor. Like, I suppose the premier typing tutor back in the day was Mavis Beacon. I'm like trying to think if that's still around. I want to say it is. Like,
it's available. It's not widely used, but it is available.
Yeah, I think the name is still around because, duh.
Well, yeah, like I said, that was the gold standard in typing tutors, and that just wasn't for kids either. That was, that was legitimate office software as well. What we got here in Alpha Zoo is more akin to maybe Mario Teaches Typing. Anyone else remember that one?
Yeah.
Yes, I was bad at
it. Like, but
I'm doing a thing here that's very. I'm solving a personal problem much more than I think the average game that gets made. So I have a
Okay.
4-year-old daughter. When I
Uh-huh.
started making this game, she was 3, and I wanted her to learn to read. And
Uh-huh.
like anyone, she's a lot more interested in this screen that we're all looking at right now than really anything else. Uh, and I also kind of thought that the games that she was playing were not like they're very structured. They're not very good teachers for lack of a better word, like exploration style games. Come back to Secret of Mana and maps and just games as discovery. And so I I was working on another game that I actually still have in the pipeline,
Mhm.
and I just had to take a diversion. We were on a vacation, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna make this thing where she can like type words with me, dumb words, poop and and pee pee and stuff like that, and see if she likes it. And she did, and I couldn't stop. I basically spun it into this game to teach her to read and to teach her like a very basic idea of having a game world that you're free to explore. So, it's in like, and I get that this is not for everyone, but it's intentionally very not structured. Very just, here's your world, play around in it, see what you like.
I mean, strictly speaking, I find it a bit of a um, fresh take for edutainment because I can't really recall like say a thing that's aimed for preschoolers being this freeform. I
Yeah.
think when we were talking about this game in the pre-show, it reminded me us most of a tycoon game.
Yeah.
Like so- you know,
Yeah, it's absolutely meant to be a tycoon game for babies that will
mhm.
incidentally kind of push them to typing and reading. Like the kids that I show it to, basically, they don't think of it as a typing game. They think of it, they don't have this word, but they are definitely interacting with it like it's a tycoon game.
Honestly,
And
that probably makes it a better typing game.
yeah, like, well, because they're not typing because I say they have to type. They're typing because typing is the tool that they use to interact with the world.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like that's probably the principle that I'm going to keep with going forward. Like the game should be the right kind of style for the people who are playing it. The game should not if it's going to be an educational game, it can't be that rigid because education is already like a hard enough pill to swallow. So
Right.
you've got to have a lot of your own freedom. But then the thing that I want to teach, I'm trying to make the thing that I want to teach be your tool for interacting with the game.
That's an understandable ethos, especially since once again this is being aimed for like preschoolers as opposed to going back to those old school typing tutors. Those are things I encountered in like middle school or even high school because that's like preparing you for the office where typing as fast as possible is the end goal there, not really learning words.
Well, so the game I have in the pipeline is a game. It's a multiplayer game where people type words to launch rockets at each other as fast as they can.
Hmm.
That's for 10-year-olds maybe. But yeah, this one is just discovery. This one is just like gentle, your world, play around in it how you want, and like learn what you want in it, kind of a world.
Well, I suppose the question that beckons most prominently is how effective was this in teaching your daughter how to read and type?
Super darned effective in teaching my daughter and her cousins and a couple of her friends. So basically, uh, my daughter particularly, and one of her cousins played this for probably like 20 or 30 hours, which was a stupid long time for a little kid. Not every little kid has played it that long, but I've definitely met a bunch of like basically 80% of kids are like, that's cool for 10 minutes, and 20% of kids are like, I want to rebuild this zoo 18 times. I want to rebuild this zoo every afternoon, and I'm just going to keep doing that. And it's basically, I feel like you kind of need, I learned in the process of making this, you kind of need a parent there guiding a little bit in order for them to learn the reading part. But the typing part, they'll pick up on their own because, again, it's literally the thing that they do for however many hours they play it.
I mean,
So,
yeah, that does sound like the um, attention span of a kid, like especially a very young kid. It's either they bounce off very quickly or they're completely obsessed. Believe me.
yep.
I hear from my brothers about their kids, about things that their kids get obsessed with.
Oh yeah, every toy is 5 minutes or 20 hours. That's just how toys are.
Not just toys, but say like SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, since you guys are old enough and you've been talking about like shows and games and stuff, I didn't intend to push nostalgia on my daughter, but I've offered her little bits of nostalgia, and she's actually clicked with it. One of those 20-hour thing, two of those 20-hour things for her are two 80s shows. One called Mask, and the other is the original Real Ghostbusters. She's watched the entirety of both, not like the first two, the good seasons of Ghostbusters, but oh my God, she's 4 years old. She's watched 60 episodes of Ghostbusters.
I can relate since
Yeah.
Ghostbusters was part of my watching diet back in the day. Like Mask was a bit more scattershot because that's how syndication worked. Like I think I was much more into say the Transformers or Turtles, definitely Turtles, but
I'm saving Turtles for later, and Michael Bay still makes me sad, so we're holding back on Transformers for now.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Turtles and there's a lot of Transformers these days.
Yes, it's very true.
There's about 5 or 6 series of each at least. Yeah. I could be underselling that.
You could, yeah.
But anyway, moving on. Was there any particular reason why you made this a commercial game instead of like freeware?
Yeah, this is actually something that I want to keep doing. So my background is actually, I at one point I was a mathematician, then I became a machine learning programmer. I'm an ex-Google, ex-Microsoft guy. There's this whole other world that I could like live in. I am fortunate enough that basically, like my wife was happy for me to be a stay-at-home dad for the last couple of years. And my daughter's in school part-time, so I'm like, I have the free time to think about like what I really want to do. I think this is what I really want to do. I think basically I'm going to have this person who wants to learn things for the next at least like 14 years. And she's a very technically oriented person. She's got engineer style. So anything that I want to teach her, it's better if I can put it in this format. I'm gonna if I were gonna be doing regular work, I would, for the entire rest of the time that I was doing that, I would sort of be looking at this and going, "Oh my God, can I just like go home and make my game now for my daughter?" So if I can keep doing this, then that's great. It's commercial strictly for the reason that I would like to be able to keep doing it. At whatever point my wife is like, "Okay, I think you should go back to work," I would rather be like, okay, I think that this is the work that I'm going to keep doing. If that pans out, great. If it doesn't, it's cool. I took my shot.
Fair enough. How much in terms of like times or resources did it take to make Alpha Zoo here?
Very little, actually. Alpha Zoo is about a 300-hour project, maybe 350, including like putting it on Steam and trying to do a little bit of marketing and stuff like that. It is not actually an effortful project on the whole. Which kind of really surprised me because I over the course of the time that I've been stay at home and my daughter has been in school part-time, I have tried. Alpha Zoo is actually the fourth, including the one that is still currently in the pipeline. Alpha Zoo is the fourth game that I tried making, and honestly, the other ones, twice to 3 times as much effort, with less to show for it. This one just really clicked. So I'm kind of going forward with my projects. I'm kind of going to set the standard that if the thing is worth like really building and commercializing, it should probably click pretty quickly.
I suppose, especially since. Well,
sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
like I said, that's a real rarity on this program. Let's just say, not so much that it was easy, but it was, less difficult than you were expecting because, making video games is hard. But
Making video games is extremely hard. I think I had the benefit of like many people where like they have a couple failed businesses and then they have a successful one. And this would probably be my pattern as well there. But like for game technology, when I got more serious about making like a medium-sized or even like a small but shippable, a commercializable game, it got harder very quickly. And I think I kind of had to fail a couple of times, partly to get some design sense and partly to build up a better technology stack, which actually made this a lot easier to do. Like I when I started to make this, I had a lot of tools from the other games that made it very easy to just run with this.
yeah, that makes sense. Um, some people would call this prototyping.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely a big believer in like video game prototyping. If you're a solo dev, the best thing that you can do is not hold on to your ideas and maybe take some time, especially if you're not like on a schedule. Take some time and just do one of those like I will do a prototype a week or I will do a prototype a month for a while until you find one that really just clicks for you.
Yeah. And how much time is 300 or 350 hours in terms of like days or months?
This game took about 3 months. So yeah, it's not too bad.
No, no. We've had some people, take like 3 to 8 months to make a game, and
Oh yeah.
distressingly much more common is more. Oh, this took a year or 3 years to make. Like,
Yeah.
which is
Or the worst ones. Oh, we've mortgaged our house 3 times to make this.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like that's happened.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm like, and yeah, I'm like taking 3 years on an edutainment title like this would not be good or
No,
helpful.
it really wouldn't. This is great at 3 months. It is not worth 3 years. It's very easy for me to say, like, this is not worth 3 years of work.
Yeah.
No version of this could be worth 3 years of work.
Now, in terms of Alpha Zoo, do you plan on bringing this to say mobile phones so that
I think as a
more?
typing game, it's a really bad mobile experience. I I don't say that from having tried it with AlphaZoo. I say that from having tried it with the other typing game.
Uh-huh.
My original intention with the other typing game was that it would be a great mobile typing game. And this may not be true forever, but I discovered, at least for my prototypes, that speed typing in particular, but I think also like little kid typing, are too hard to do, inherently too hard to be like fun as a game mechanism. So it's incredibly fun if you like keyboards in the first place to like have a fast-paced typing game. Like Typing of the Dead is just like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun. You kind of think this might be fun on mobile. I text people all day anyway. I know how to type on a mobile phone. How bad can this be? The keyboard takes up a third of the screen, and it's once you put a speed pressure on it, it's actually kind of hard to it's hard to enjoy what you're doing. So I didn't find it super enjoyable. So I thought that this one would probably not be that enjoyable for kids if they were like typing on an iPad.
Yeah, I would actually agree. Like, just personally, I find typing on a smartphone or tablet to be much more cumbersome, mainly because there's no tactile feedback.
Yeah,
Um,
it's absolutely true.
but with kids, it's going to be different because so many of them are raised on smartphones or tablets and touch typing that they may not have that experience with a keyboard versus a touch screen.
True. It's very true.
It is something to keep in mind. Anyway, in terms of Alpha Zoo here, do you have any plans to do more zoo titles, like say a number zoo?
Uh, Zoo titles, no. Spelling and exploration titles, maybe. Uh, if I get the chance to do it, I would do more of that. So I wouldn't go in a number zoo direction. I would go in an alpha town direction, if that makes sense.
No, that does. That does. It, you're sticking with one theme while adjusting the other, just not in the way that edutainment titles usually do it, because it's usually reader rabbit and then like number rabbit or something like that.
Yep. So I haven't yet found my standards for a good math game are pretty high, and I haven't yet found a format that really works for me. I'm sort of I've been prototyping an RPG with some sort of like mathematical puzzles, for lack of a better word, but I think that it's super easy to make math like a miserable game experience. You definitely cannot, in the way that you can make people stop and type something. Everyone, including children, is willing to do that. You can't really make people stop and solve a math problem in the middle of a game. That's an absolute interest killer. I say that as a former mathematician. I like math, but like if you made me do math in the middle of a game and I was aware that it was not just the natural part of the game, I think I would stop.
I would not disagree with that.
So that's a hard problem to solve.
Yeah. Anyway, so you've alluded to this other typing game a few times here. What is the state of development for this? I don't know. Do you even have a name for it yet?
I do, and it's going to change. It's ridiculous. I have a complete game called Cold War Keyboards that I don't think that I am going to release. Even before everything that happened right now with Ukraine and Russia, I think that I think that the style of the game was really wrong. It's something that I liked and found interesting, not something that like the 10-year-olds who probably I want to have play it, or like the Twitch streamers I want to have play it would find fun and interesting. I basically built this thing minus some of the multiplayer. I built a complete like 3-mode typing game. One mode is basically speed typing to launch rockets. You're basically at dueling computers, and you can break the other person's computer. The second mode is like high-speed Scrabble, and the third mode is almost like a one-button runner, except you're typing your way through the one-button runner. You type, you jump, you punch, you type, you jump, you punch. Like two people are racing to like stop a missile launch or start a missile launch. Anyway, the style of this game is straight up like a 1985 Rocky movie, but for typing nerds. And it was a lot of fun for me to make. I'm still basically pretty new to art. I've done all of this myself. I drew a bunch of comics for it. They're good, not great. But more importantly, like that's my theme. That's a theme that I find very entertaining. It's not probably the theme for everybody. So I paused on that one. I've been paused on it for about 3 months, and it's not going out until I find the like entirely different gloss that makes that game work. Like maybe the gloss is a bunch of very unhappy like monkeys on typewriters in a like in a school learning to type because they want to go get like fancy jobs. No, I don't have a great change for that, but when I come up with one that is really satisfying and like tests well with kids, then that's the thing that I'm going to go with. The game itself is basically complete. Like the structure underneath is complete. It's not trivial to like completely swap all the art assets and change the style, but at least like structurally, it is a complete game.
Well, good luck to you on that. And are there any other games you are working on currently?
I have the plan after that one, if I get a chance, to do one. This is definitely, I'm guessing this is not something that you guys will have talked about on the show. There's like government grants for education research and educational software. I would like basically to make a game for that, like explicitly for schools. And the best thing I have as my grant proposal for this grant is basically to make a classic JRPG for native Spanish speakers to learn English. So take everything that you know about a JRPG and transfer it to you're a kid who came to the United States on a family trip, aliens attacked, you're separated from your family. You and this English-speaking kid are working together to like try to find your families and come home. And the game starts full Spanish and progresses to full English, and there's always like a little helper buddy chatbot to teach you as you go. I think it's a lot more fun way to, you know, again, to like the tool should basically, the thing that you want to teach should be the tool. Like learning the language seems to me like a fun way to progress through an RPG world, because that's all of the exploration, all of the unlocks. Like you can only talk to certain people once you know how to talk to them. You can talk more to them once you know how to, you know, like use the language better, stuff like that. So that's if I get the chance, I will make that.
Hey, that sounds interesting, if nothing else. And yeah, that is not a topic we've ever talked about on this program till now. Like, once again, we don't get a lot of people who do educational games, but
yeah, it's rare now.
Anyway. Right, so I'll see if my colleagues here have any further questions for you.
I think I'm good.
I'm also good.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Matthew, it was lovely having you on the program and talking about all things Alpha Zoo, both the game and the company. Like, you know, we wish you luck in your endeavor to retool your slightly more advanced typing game for something palatable. In the meantime, the game is Alpha Zoo. It is available on Steam. It goes for $5, $4.99. If you have a young child, like, what is the age range here? 4 to 7? 4 to 8?
I'd say 4 to 7 is great.
Okay. Consider picking it up today. Anyway, Penny, play us to the next segment. All right, welcome to the topic of discussion. This week we are talking about Sonic 3 and Knuckles. We are doing this because this Friday, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, will be releasing. And even though they're calling it Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and this is going to be Tails' debut, it's basically taking the plot of Sonic 3 and Knuckles and bringing it to the silver screen. Like, I couldn't exactly tell you why they made the jump to 3. Maybe they just wanted to get to Knuckles that quickly, but they have done so. So we figured it would be a good time to talk about the game that inspired that. You know, arguably, very arguably, there have been a lot of arguments about this. The greatest Sonic title ever. Like,
well, it's certainly the biggest 2D one. At
certainly.
least of the classic ones.
Well, even that is contentious because, you know, some people do like to define it in terms of Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, much less Sonic 3 and Knuckles. You know.
Well, and that's kind of an issue because if you take them separately, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles are each lacking a pretty significant thing.
Yeah, like, there's no way, like...
For one thing, Sonic and Knuckles doesn't have a save system at all. Sonic 3 does.
Sonic and Knuckles doesn't have an opening cutscene on the Sonic side of things. It just launches you in. The Knuckles side, yeah, it's got the cutscene. But yeah, here's the Sonic's honest truth here. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the real game. That was always the intention from the beginning. The only reason we have Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles is because Sega of America made a business deal with McDonald's, where they would do Happy Meal toys based around Sonic 3 in February, January, sometime, around early 1994, and thus the game had to be out by then. Like, this is a problem because they were literally making this the biggest Sonic game ever. And so they decided to basically split the game up into two pieces. They basically, they wrapped up what they had completed at that point in time, or, would be available at that moment in time, and called it Sonic 3. And, they would do Sonic 3 Part 2, which we call Sonic and Knuckles, later on down the line. Mm-hmm. Now, there wasn't really indications of this back when Sonic 3 released. I don't think I had my Genesis at that point. But, I do remember, like, a lot of the advertisements, it was just like Sonic 3. It's like it was more when it was discovered that there was a lot of unused content. The same thing happened with Sonic 2 back in the day. Like, guess what? Game exploration isn't a new thing. Like,
it's just easier.
Yeah. I remember, like, EGM and GamePro being filled with articles like, the hidden palace zone of Sonic 2 and other cut content. Like, hint, a big discovery of that missing content was in the level select code. Because,
Yeah, isn't it really noticeable that, like, A, some of the levels are in the wrong order, and B, it, like, skips a number?
I think so. I do know that in the Sonic 3 level select, it's got the missing levels. It's got Sandopolis and Mushroom Hill and Lava Reef all listed.
Oh, yeah. You can't, if you do them, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Once again, we saw that in Sonic 2 as well. Where, like, that's how we found Hidden Palace Zone, for example. They left that dummy data in because, and in this case, they probably intended that stuff to hook up with the later release. But yeah, Sonic 3 was a bit truncated if you played it on your own. Ditto Sonic and Knuckles. And once again, there are other telltale signs that, these are two halves of a whole. The save feature is missing from Sonic and Knuckles. Tails is missing from the initial selection of Sonic and Knuckles. Whereas Knuckles is only playable in the multiplayer in Sonic 3. But, there were a lot of ways this game was halved. Like, so I think, personally, I'm safe in saying that it's Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Mm-hmm. One of the problems, though, is since this game was split up into two, sometimes the compilation or the re-releases forget that this is a thing.
Thankfully, they do tend to at least include lock-on as a thing.
Yes. Sometimes they don't, though. That's what I'm getting at. The Sonic's Genesis Ultimate Bundle, the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 Genesis compilation.
Yep.
That one forgot.
Irritates me to no goddamn end.
Well, yeah. I'm like, whereas other releases like the Sonic Mega Collection or the Sega Steam releases, they remember that Sonic 3 and Knuckles are supposed to be one thing. Like, or a thing that you can connect up to. And when you hook them up, you do have the biggest Sonic game, at least the biggest 2D Sonic game. Like, I don't think even like Sonic Mania is as big as Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
I think it depends on the version.
Could be.
Because music files are pretty big on Mania for obvious reasons.
I'm not talking about big in that regard. I'm talking about in terms of levels.
Ah, yeah.
You know, like, and not just like the amount of levels. Like, I think there's about 11 or 12 levels in the full game. You know,
I'm running
I'm
through them
also,
all in my head, and I think you're about right.
yeah. It's also, you've got 3 characters.
Mhm.
And you've also got the only instance of the super unlock or the hyper unlock, depending on the character you play. Because
Where you can get all of the regular Chaos Emeralds and become super, unless you're Tails. But you can also get all of the super emeralds in the second game and then become hyper, which is more colorful for Sonic and
yeah,
is something for Tails.
Super
that,
Tails, and you get the flickies with you.
No, that's what
That
I'm saying. No,
yeah.
Tails. That's what I'm saying. Tails gets something when you get all the super emeralds.
Oh yeah,
yep,
and it's
Tails,
broken as
Tails
hell.
gets nothing with the Chaos Emeralds.
yeah. And you also get Super Knuckles. Also, this is the only time that Super Tails and Super Knuckles, and for that matter, Hypersonic, ever have appeared in a Sonic game. Now, mainly
Yeah.
because, like, make of that what you will. Mainly because they haven't reused them. I don't know what they call. I forget what they call the big versions of the Chaos Emeralds. But
Super Emeralds.
yeah, there we go. They haven't. The Super Emeralds haven't reappeared in a Sonic game to date.
Well, also, Sonic. Well, Hypersonic was brightly flashing rainbow lights, so.
Yeah, I'm like, he's not very epileptic friendly, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I could ask a epileptic friend of mine, but I don't feel like bringing that up right now.
Yeah, probably not the best idea.
Yeah. Also, this is the game that gave us the Blue Sphere mini game.
AKA the most popular minigame this side of Half-Pipe.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Half Pipe is much more popular given the overuse in Sonic games.
Yeah, but Blue Sphere gets... People actually like Blue Sphere, is the main thing, I think.
People used to like the Half Pipe.
And then it got done to death.
Yeah. Like,
and then they kept going.
I remember when the Saturn version of the Sonic 3D Blast game got released. People were praising the fact that it had the half pipe throwback in it because that was like literally the next time we saw that particular level gimmick return.
Mm-hmm.
They beat that thing to death.
They beat that horse into paste, more like it, but yes.
Yeah. That being said, yeah, the half pipe had a fucking problem, and that problem was fucking Tails.
What, you mean Tails having a hurt box and that coming up way more often than the fact that he had a hit box?
I hate that.
What that means is that Tails can collect rings for you occasionally, and that can be helpful if he collects a couple of stray rings. Unfortunately, he can also get hit by the mines, and you're way more likely to have a near miss on a mine that he then gets hit by than you are to have a near miss on a ring that would make a significant difference that he collects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas in Blue Sphere, he's not there, or
No,
he can.
there.
He's there. He's so close behind you, he can't really do anything to fuck anything up.
That's kind of what I mean.
Well, here's the trick. In Blue Sphere, you're not moving at all. The world is moving under you.
Yeah. There are some other games that use this trick, like Super Mario Kart, though not quite this rotational. Or any FMV game from the era is doing a version of this, where it's you're basically running on a matte painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is not the only. This is the main bonus, but not the only bonus. Which I think is this is the first Sonic game to do that that I can remember.
Yeah, there's this one you get from jumping into the big rings, but they did leave in a mini game for if you get a whatchamacallem,
50 rings.
a goalpost with 50 rings.
Yeah.
Not a
Anyway,
goalpost, a checkpoint post.
Yes.
anyway, to throw in with the debate of what is the best Sonic, at least the best Sonic 2D game, or at least best Sonic Genesis game or anything like that. Not factoring, let's say, Sonic Mania or Sonic Mania Plus into the mix.
It's clearly Sonic 2 where you play as Knuckles.
I never liked Knuckles in
No,
Sonic 2.
No, me neither. I played it a lot as a kid because it was like, because my cousin didn't have Sonic 3, he just had Sonic and Knuckles, and it seemed cool. But there are a lot of, while it's fun to explore, there are a lot of environmental issues with using Knuckles in, for example, Chemical Plant Zone.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sonic 2 is the better game just because I think it has much tighter level design.
I will say one thing I do like about I guess the 3 saga is the elemental shields.
Yeah, I like the elemental shields. I like the continuity between levels. Like it's not just moving from one to the next. Each act of and each level has their cutscenes. Each one changes, which is something new for a Sonic game. Like every level of an act was it had its differences in its actual design and stuff like that, but it kept the theming. Whereas, look at the God, what Green Hill Zone is this one? Angel Island.
Yeah.
Angel Island Zone.
Oh, right. Emerald Hill is the first zone of Knuckles.
No, Emerald Hill is 2.
Yeah, Emerald Hills 2.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Even when they weren't using Green Hill Zone directly, they were doing Green Hill for the first zone. But look at Act 2 here. It's all red and fiery.
Right, because the island is active. This game actually tried to do environmental storytelling.
Yes, which is
where there's a lumberjack robot at the end of the first stage, and then he's literally and you see him do some fire stuff, and then he's literally setting everything on fire. Yeah,
and here's Sonic 3's homage to Sonic 1 and Sonic 2.
Which
Sonic
at least it's a bonus stage and not a you have to do this to get past the level.
Well, it's more Sonic 1 in terms of that bonus level where you had to go through the spinny world and get the Chaos Emeralds. The bonus world that nobody liked.
And they, for some reason, brought back for 4, but oh boy.
There were a lot of mistakes done in Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Sonic 4 is one of the sins.
We do not talk about 4. The elevator goes 1, 2, 3, K Mania.
Believe me, I'm expecting Matt McMuscles to talk about Sonic 4 soon. Since, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is coming out and he needs a Sonic game to talk about. He said he would talk about that one. Granted, he's already done the worst of that. But getting back to Sonic Knuckles, the thing I never really liked is it could take 7 to 8 minutes to complete a level.
We're not going to talk about the Casino Nights, or not Casino Nights. The what's that fairground one?
I know what you're talking about.
Carnival Nights.
There we go.
Carnival Night Zone. That's because people were dumb.
Yeah, we were.
I'm like, here's the thing. I never had a problem on those lifts.
Bully for you.
It's mostly a thing of does it occur to you that what the correct answer is to push down rhythmically to increase the swing?
Yeah,
as you might if you were swinging. Anyway, the main thing that gets in some people's heads is that they don't realize that that's an option.
Yeah.
That it would do anything. It usually doesn't, except for tilt the screen down slightly.
I mean, my cliched axe to grind in terms of Sonic 3 and Knuckles is fucking goddamn Santopolis Zone.
Oh God. Act 1 is okay, but Act 2 can go fuck itself.
Which is the prevailing wisdom. And they're not wrong. Look, that's just a bad fucking level. And I know, Metropolis Zone has its problems, especially with the fucking the praying mantis enemies. Got nothing on the tedium of, Sandopolis, which is more like Sonic 1's Marble Zone than anything else.
Oh, there's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Labyrinth, but Labyrinth was more fuck you and everything you stand for.
Yeah.
And fucking, I hope you like PTSD whenever you hear the drowning music.
Well, I mean that they kept that one consistent throughout the Sonic games, so not necessarily. Though that's another thing about Sonic and Knuckles. There's no water stage in that game or section or however you want to define it.
Yeah,
there are stages that have water in them, but none where going under is obligatory for most of or any significant part of the stage.
Yeah, and it makes the water shield completely useless if you're just doing Sonic and Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
But it lets you bounce.
Yeah, that's more of the thing. Is it still gives you the bounce jump at least? So
yeah. But at the least, I can say, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is one of the best Sonic games to ever grace the land, which is, not a controversial statement in the least.
Again, I played it when I was very young, and as a kid, I did not realize that Knuckles was like harder because he can't jump good. Because I got too hung up on how cool it is to be able to glide and climb walls.
Mm.
So I sucked. Because the furthest I ever got was that one fucking boss with the goddamn water.
The one in Hydra City?
Huh?
Yeah.
The one that ended at Hydra City?
I think so.
Where you had to jump on the water tornadoes?
Yeah, not even that one. The one where it's a half pipe.
Oh god, the half pipe one. Shit.
Knuckles cannot easily jump high enough to either click on the walls or get the fuck out of the water.
Yeah, it involves a awkward mix of spin dash and just.
And it's still not the worst boss encounter. That's Tails in the one where Robotnik's flying over the forest or something like that.
Yeah, it's the third stage.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. Marble Garden? Was that the one?
I
No,
think
Marble
so?
Garden's in like the first game. Wait, you might be right.
Marble Zone is first.
I'm thinking of Marble Zone. Yeah.
Yeah, Marble Garden is third.
Yeah, it's something Garden.
Yeah.
Marble Garden is in Sonic 3. Yes.
That's the boss encounter where Tails is holding you if you play as Sonic. Like, that's the one that can go fuck right off if you're playing as Tails. Because it is really fucking cheap and hard to hit that Robotnik boss in...
Isn't that the one where you can stand on the statues on the sides?
I know it's aerial battle is what he's talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because, the tail attack, while fun, is a pain in the ass.
You might notice from this that I do not have a ton of experience with Sonic and therefore misremember shit.
Meanwhile...
Yeah, I'm like, don't worry, we got Sonic covered. Like,
all my Sonic memorabilia around my room.
And I've played a lot of the games. Like, not all of them because I wasn't ever going to throw down money for Sonic 06.
I did.
I pay attention to reviews.
Yeah, well, I also posit that I was young and dumb.
Well, I would posit that Sega lost the plot when it came to Sonic.
Yeah, that's...
Sonic had a really rough transition to 3D.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, he hasn't made it. Like, I guess that depends on how you want to define how
a lot of the best 3D Sonic games are the ones that are the least 3D.
I'm like, possibly that depends on how you want to view the adventure game. Like,
I didn't say all of them. I said a lot. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, the thing about the adventure games is I think it's more they've aged poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh God,
and
yes.
and it's also like with Sonic Adventure 1, the GameCube port wasn't very good. And all like subsequent versions have been based off of that one instead of the Dreamcast original. Which, make no mistake, the Dreamcast version had its problems as well because launch game itis, if you will, like, or, even though that would mean inflammation. But we're getting, those are other Sonic games. As far as what should have been the swan song for Sonic on the Genesis, top shelf stuff. It's not the swan song because Sonic 3D Blast exists.
God.
I'm like,
Well, on the just Genesis.
true, but that was a Genesis game. Like,
Yeah. I
like-
mean, it borders on a war crime, but yeah, it was a Genesis game.
okay, I didn't think Sonic 3D Blast was that bad.
It has some very bad problems.
Yeah, but I don't think it's even like the worst Genesis Sonic game. I like it more than Sonic Spinball.
Okay, that one might come to arguments later.
I'm like, I never liked Spinball and its weird physics.
I enjoyed it, though. I haven't really played it much since I was a kid, so...
Yeah,
I don't think
go
it's
back
gotten much of a re-release since then. But that's a topic for another...
It gets its fair amount of Sonic re-releases. Yeah, not as much as Sonic 2 or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, certainly more re-releases in modern times than, say, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which...
For some godforsaken reason.
We think it might have to do with the music. It's never been confirmed why Sega just stopped releasing Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Granted, you can still play it. You can still get it.
The music thing is a very strong hypothesis, but not confirmed.
Yeah, especially since the reason I don't think it's that, or at least it's something that cropped up with like newer versions of the game, is because you can still buy Sonic 3 and Knuckles on Steam.
Yeah, it's clearly not a complete embargo or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that I think was like the last version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles to see an actual re-release, versus just recycling Sonic 1 and 2. Sort of. And if they're going to do that, why the fuck have they not brought the Whitehead versions off of mobile? Like, Sega, you confound me as much as Square Enix sometimes. Like, and because and that's another thing, we haven't seen a Christian Whitehead version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Please, Sega, get on that, I swear to God.
Well, I mean, they were supposed to be working on something. Remember that Sonic? God, what was that? What is the bundle called? Like the Origins, or the one that was supposed to release all the Genesis Sonic games onto like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox and the Switch.
I don't remember that off the top of my head, but
yeah, it just went underground, and Sega stopped talking about it. Like, I bet people who listen forgot that this thing will potentially exist because it's been so long since it was announced. And, it's like, it's going to have Sonic 3 and Knuckles in the widescreen. Nothing else. Like,
at least hopefully. Because good lord if they screw this up.
I don't know if they're planning on something later this year in regards to that.
I guess it depends how, what's it called? The new Frontier?
Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. Like,
yeah, we will have to see how that game goes because they're allegedly trying some slightly opener world stuff, and I have opinions about the dangers of doing that with stuff that involves high speed.
Yeah, I have fears too, but...
Yeah, we haven't even seen the game properly.
That's why I'm Cautiously optimistic. Also, something conditioned Sonic fan.
The Sonic cycle's strong with Frontiers. Let me tell you, I've seen the fucking delusions. Like,
Let us
people
have our
do-
hope.
You do realize that in an open world where you're capable of traveling at the speed of sound, if that's what it is, you need to either have the world be empty. You either have to have the world have interesting shit in it, and therefore you don't want to go at the speed of sound because you end up missing things, or you have to have a really fucking empty big world with obvious signposted areas that are less that fast.
yeah, people, stop. Just fucking stop, because we're doing the Sonic cycle all the fuck over again now. And Sega really does have to prove that this game doesn't suck, because, once again, the last Sonic game was Sonic Forces.
And the last Sonic game that didn't suck wasn't made by Sega proper.
Fuck off.
I'm like,
It was made by the guy who did those ports.
I suppose that depends on your stance in Team Sonic Racing, but
Okay, Sonic core game? Fucking,
yeah.
I don't know.
Granted, Team Sonic Racing just seemed to be like the white bread of Sonic karting. Wasn't bad, but it had no personality, especially compared to coming off of Transformed.
Yeah, Transformed was great, but topic
Yeah.
for another time.
Yeah. I do have to get around to actually playing that one of these days. It's another one on the eternal backlog. Look, when you have as many games as mine, there are games that spend years there. Anyway, I'm sure we could go on and on about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like how it's the game that invented the Sonic ending formula, for lack of a better term. Like, this is the game that gave us the true final boss, and getting all the Chaos Emeralds will unlock the supersonic stage.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
before it was just, the ending was a little different.
Uh-huh.
Now,
This one,
you have an extra, I guess, fight?
yeah.
Wouldn't
An
really call it a
extra
stage, but
zone.
yeah.
And that's something
that's on a ring countdown.
Because super mode.
Uh-huh. And that's something that's been carried into both the future Sonic 2D games and Sonic 3D games. Everything from Sonic Adventure to Sonic on the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
And Advance.
It's probably easier to list the games that didn't go supersonic after Sonic 3, and have this particular level trope apply.
The problem is that a lot of the later ones make Supersonic exclusive to that.
Or it's mostly because it's plot relevant.
Yeah.
Right, rather than in this one where it's a bonus.
Yeah. It's the true ending, or at least Sonic's true ending. There's also the weird continuity going on between Sonic and Knuckles campaigns, because Knuckles' campaign takes place after Sonic's. We know this because the Death Egg is gone. Like, when you fight in Lava Reef Zone, the Death Egg is not there in the background. And Robotnik has been replaced in most instances. I know there's like one boss level where they forgot to replace the sprite. Robotnik's been replaced by an egg rover that just decided to throw bombs at Knuckles because, egg robo. There's a lot to this game. But anyway, we should probably wrap things up, because it is getting close to the time where we got to start preparing for Moonhawk Studios Presents. Anyway, so on that note, the week ahead on MSP, we got an inside the studio. Reed Mac couldn't get a guest, or rather, had to make sure his life didn't fall apart. So he was kind of not busy with that instead of getting a guest. Understandable, but Anyway, on Friday, April 8th, we'll be having Marvin Kruger of MK Arts and Visuals. Let's see, trying to remember the game we are talking about, or maybe more of the experience. It's like, fluids and sounds, mind relaxing and meditative. And it's going to be the first of 2 giveaways that we're going to be doing in, say, the next week. I already got the codes for this, but I figured we'd start the giveaway on the relevant episode.
Right.
And that's going to apply to the Sunday reviews because we also got a couple of extra codes for giveaway purposes for one of the games. But once again, I want that set up with the relevant review. And speaking of the Sunday game reviews, this week we will be having impressions of Tumble Fire. It's a very early access game, and it's the kind of game that reminds me why I don't really like doing early access games, because I'm like, it's at like 0.2, which indicates it's fairly early access. Pretty solid for that early, but it's still, oh boy, the draw distance is pretty bad, kind of deal. Petty will be reviewing Janitor Bleeds. This is the specific game that we got giveaway codes for, so we'll be setting that giveaway up on Sunday. And Petty, I'll hand you the relevant codes for both games on the day.
Noted.
Anyway, Galax will be reviewing Square Boy vs. Bullies Arena Edition. Another Rodalikia game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Bite the Bullet, which has actually been in the queue for a few years. Like we interviewed the developers and they gave us this game, and it just kind of languished. And I remember why when I booted this game up again, because I needed something to replace something else. And here's the thing: this game is probably going on my worst of lists for the year because they fucked with the momentum. I'll get into it on Sunday, but it's such a subtle thing at first, but it's why is there actual maybe not Newtonian momentum, but it's like when I stop, I don't stop. I move a bit. And I kept falling into pits. That just killed the game. Anyway, more on that on Sunday. And until, I'd say about 20 minutes from now, I shall wish you good gaming.